So you might have heard of Jack Canfield. He's the Chicken Soup for the Soul guy. Have you read any of those books? I think there are a bunch of them, but he started that whole, I'm going to call it a franchise of books. And Jack Canfield said, everything you want is on the other side of fear. So I was thinking about fear on the yoga mat. And sometimes we have a fear because we have an injury. So if your shoulder is tweaky and you have fear of doing something that might cause greater tweaking of that shoulder, that fear is legitimate. But we can do things like physical therapy, things to strengthen the shoulder, and then maybe we can get on the other side of that fear to the poses that we want. So really at this point, I think for almost all of us here, our yoga is not about the poses, it's more about what the poses can do for us. So instead of twisting our bodies all around to get into a pose, we make the pose do the work for us. At the same time, sometimes there is a fear. For me, I have a fear of going upside down. I work on it a little, almost every day. But on the other side of that fear is handstand and headstand and shoulder stand and any other upside down motion for me. So today in our practice, I want us to think about what is it that we might want that's on the other side of fear? And can we use our practice? Can we use these poses as a tool to face those fears in a safe way so that we can get what we really want, not just out of the practice, but out of our lives? What you really want is on the other side of fear. So find a good seat and bring your hands to your heart. Close your eyes. And with your next few exhales, think about expelling fear from your body. Take a moment to acknowledge healthy fear in your life, fear that keeps you safe, fear that is rational and sane, like that fear of doing anything to make your shoulder or whatever body part is causing you pain, to keep that body part safe. Think about healthy fear that keeps you safe in your life off of your mat. And then take a few breaths here to think about fear that maybe is not based in rationality. And what is on the other side of that fear? So today we're going to let go of fear of failure. I found a pose or a movement between two poses that's guaranteed for almost all of us to fail in, including me. So let go of that fear that's holding you back from what you really want. Bow your head towards your heart, that place that is brave, that place that holds your courage, that place that holds the fortitude to move past the fear. And then release your hands down to your legs, sit a little taller, lift your chin, lift your head, and then lift your eyes open. All right, friends, right here in our seat, or any seat that's comfortable for you, take your arms up overhead and make fists. And we're going to exhale and take the arms out to the sides. And as you take the arms out, roll your wrists around one direction, rolling. We're just going to do a little bit of wrist opening here, lowering the arms down by your sides. And then as you inhale, lift the arms up, rolling your fists in the other direction all the way up overhead. And then once your arms are up overhead, release the fists, interlace your fingers, turn your palms up towards the ceiling. Take a miniature back bend here. Draw the pinky fingers back as you press the palms up, lift the heart up. And then as you exhale, release, hands down, interlace your hands in front of you. So one big fist here, and then make figure eights, just rolling around. And then figure eights in the opposite direction. All right, release the interlace, shake your hands out a little bit. If you're playing music, now's the time to hit or tap or press play. I do have a Spotify playlist. It's Virtual Yoga 8/4. If you want to get in on that, now's the time to start. And then we will get onto all fours on our mats. Once you're steady on your knees and steady on your hands, get steady with your breath. So invite a rhythm to your breath. And with your next exhale, take cat pose, letting all the breath out as you lift your spine to the sky. And then on the inhale, deep breath in, cow pose, front of the spine towards the earth. One more time, cat. And one more time, cow. And then come into neutral. So here we're going to bring the left leg into, we call it fire hydrant. I don't think I have to tell you why. So the left leg will come into fire hydrant while the right arm will come into a cactus arm. So we'll do that 3 times together. We'll take a little pause at the top. So take a breath in here as you exhale, left leg out to fire hydrant, right arm up to cactus. Inhale, tap down. 2 more on the side. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. 1 more time. Exhale, lift. And then inhale, lower. Stretch your right leg back and then lower the foot down to the floor so your toes turn out to the side. As you inhale, sweep your right hand back past your right hip and up overhead. We're going to bring the right bicep right over the ear here. So you're really trying to lift up through the right ribs as if you're trying to get the right ribs to do a cat pose. See if you can push into your left hand and your left foot enough and lift up through those right ribs enough. You might be able to lift the left knee and foot off the floor. And then lower those back down, lower your right hand, your right knee. Exhale, cat. And inhale, cow. And then back to neutral. On the second side, you'll take your right leg out to fire hydrant and your left arm out to cactus. So take a breath in here. As you exhale, lift out to the side. Inhale, tap down. Exhale, lift, pause just for a beat. Inhale, tap down. 1 more time. And then lower down. Stretch your left leg back, lower the ball of the foot down to the whole foot down to the floor. And then as you inhale, sweep your left hand back past your left hip, up straight overhead, and then bring your bicep near your ear. So really stretch across the left ribs as if the left ribs are making a cat pose shape. Take a breath in, and then as you exhale, push into your right hand and your right foot a lot. You may be able to lift the left knee and foot off the mat, or the right knee and foot off the mat, and then lower back down, lower your hand, lower your left knee. Again, exhale, cat, and inhale, cow. And then come to downward facing dog. Stretch back through your legs, reaching your heels down into the floor, and reaching your heart, the seat of your courage, back towards your thighs. Move your head around a little bit just to loosen it up.
And then walk your feet to the top of your mat. And fold down over your feet. So for a little bit of a wrist release, we're going to bring the hands under the soles of the feet. So bend your knees as much as you need to. This is more about your wrists than it is about the hamstring lengthening, although that's a bonus. Once your palms are under the soles of your feet, see if you can tap your elbows back towards your shins. They don't have to touch, but you have that action, reaching the elbows back just to stretch out the fronts of the wrists here. And maybe you get your legs a little straighter. Release your hands from underneath your feet and inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Each time we're here in mountain pose with our hands at our heart, we remember that what we want is on the other side of fear. Be judicious with your body. Don't just willy-nilly fling it around. But maybe if your fear is in your head, you can use the courage of your heart and these poses to discover what's on the other side. Inhale, take your arms up high, look up. Exhale, forward bend, fold down to your mat. Inhale, lengthen forward halfway. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale into plank, and then keep the whole body strong as you lower down to chaturanga, hovering just for a beat, and then inhale, cobra. Tops of the feet on the floor, glide the shoulder blades down the back, lift up through the crown of your head. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg back and up behind you, lift it, and then exhale, use your core to lunge your right foot to the front of your mat. Come to high crescent pose. So you'll keep the back heel off the floor and stretch the arms straight up overhead. Once you're in high crescent with a strong belly, take a little back bend here and then circle your arms out to the sides and as far back behind you as you can. Lower them down and then bring your hands to your heart. Take a breath in. As you exhale, warrior three, keep your hands at your heart. Think about really lifting that back leg up to hip height, really being strong in the back of the left leg, being strong in the muscles that wrap around the back of the left glute, and then back to high crescent pose. Take the arms up overhead, circle them back and down behind you. Bring your hands to your heart. Again, warrior three. Focusing on that back leg lifting, and then back to high crescent. Arms up overhead. One more time, circle the arms out, bring them to your heart, and then lift forward into warrior three. Hands at the heart for this version. And then step back to high crescent pose. Lower your back heel down to the floor now. Circle your arms behind you, and this time interlace the hands behind your back. Keep your heart lifted, and then fold into the inside of your front leg. Bring your hands away from your back. Let your head hang down here. Open into the shoulders. Open into the outer right hip, maybe your inner thighs. And then bring your hands down to the mat. Lift the back heel up again. And as you inhale, twist around to the right. Take the right arm up into the air, opening, and then maybe take that right hand behind you, wrap it around the front of the left hip, twisting. And then as you inhale, release that right hand back to the ground. So we're going to take a variation of Vashisthasana, that side plank pose on the left hand and outer edge of the left foot. So first, bring your left wrist right underneath your left shoulder. And then walk your hand forward about an inch. Now we take Vashisthasana. Send your toes over to the right. Take your right arm up into the air to begin. And then bring that right bicep right near your ear. Maybe you push down into your left hand and your left foot enough, and you lift up through the top of the right hip, that you can lift that right foot off the floor just a little, and then lower it back down, hand down, one leg dog, take your right leg high to the sky, one leg vinyasa. You know you've got options here for your vinyasa, or you can cut it out entirely. And then from downward facing dog, inhale, left leg back and up behind you. On your exhale, use your core to plant your foot between your hands at the top of your mat. High crescent pose. Take the arms up. Find your back bend here. Keep the belly strong as you back bend, and then circle the arms out and keep reaching them back behind you as much as you can. And then down, hands to your heart. On your exhale, warrior 3 variation. Hands will stay at your heart. Focus on that back leg here, using the strength on the back of the leg to lift it up. And then step back gently to high crescent pose, arms up overhead. Exhale, circle them out and down. Inhale, bring them to your heart. Exhale, warrior 3, variation. And then back to high crescent, arms lift up overhead. And then exhale, circle the arms back and down, hands to the heart. One more time, warrior 3 variation, lifting that back leg up, keeping the chest lifted, and then back to high crescent. Lower your back heel down, circle the arms out, interlace behind, open up the heart, and then bow down to the inside of your left leg, leading with your heart as you fold in, bringing the hands away from your back. And then on an exhale, hands down either side of the front foot. Lift the back heel up and then twist around to the left. Take the left arm up into the air. And then maybe if it works for you, take your hand around behind your back, grabbing around the front of the right hip, twisting open. And then inhale, release. Hand back down, and now we'll take that side plank pose. So first, let's start with the right wrist right underneath the right shoulder, and then walk your hand forward an inch. Now turn all your toes to the left. Take that left arm up overhead, and then bring it over your ear. As your fingers reach up and over, lift your left ribs and your left hip up a little bit. See if you can push into your right hand and your right foot enough to maybe get a little bit of clearance for that left foot. And then left foot back down, left hand down, one leg dog, left leg lifts, one leg vinyasa, or match how you ended the first side. We'll get together in downward facing dog. Look at the front of your mat and walk your feet up there, or step your feet up, or hop up and then fold down into your legs. Inhale, lift up. Stand tall, and then on an exhale, bring your hands in front of your heart. What are you afraid of? How can we use these poses to build the courage, to build strength, to move through that fear? Take your arms up overhead here. Keep your gaze out in front, and then come onto the balls of your feet. So lift your heels off the mat. Keep the heels lifted, keep the arms up overhead, bend the knees. So this will be chair pose with the heels off the ground. Drinking bird 3 times, exhale, fold forward, bring your hands back and up behind you, and then inhale, lift the arms back up overhead, knees stay bent, heels stay lifted. 2 more, exhale, fold, Inhale, lift. Last one, exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Straighten the legs, stand tall here. Put the palms of your hands on the ceiling. So this is handstand, only we're not upside down. And then heels down to the floor. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, lengthen out. Let's meet on our bellies. So take your vinyasa. After your back bend, lower down to the mat. From your belly, bend your left knee, reach back with the left hand, or your strap, grab your foot, draw your heel in towards your hip. Exhale, release, stretch the left leg back, tuck your toes under. We're gonna get up to downward dog, what I call the hard way. So hands in place for chaturanga. Lift the shoulders up, fire up the upper back, the belly, the legs. Take a breath in, a little bit of air out to lift you to chaturanga, and then full breath out for plank, and then press your hips back, downward dog. Inhale, right leg back and up behind you, bend your knee and twist open here. Inhale, stretch your leg back. Exhale, lunge your right foot to the front of your mat. We'll come up to warrior two. Reverse warrior. Inhale, lift back up, turn to face the left long side of your mat. We'll come into horse stance here, hands just above the knees. On your exhale, twist to the right, so left shoulder dips into the center. Inhale to the middle, exhale, twist left. Inhale, middle. On your exhale, twist right and hold. Keeping that twist, take your left hand to the top of your right knee, and then take your right arm up and around, maybe wrap it into the opposite hip crease. You're gonna keep bowing forward, point your elbows in opposite directions. So left elbow points down, right elbow points up. And then inhale, rise up, release that bind, arms out to the sides, triangle pose, turn the front toes forward. Exhale, lean forward, fingertips touch down onto the ground. On your exhale, bring your left hand down, bring your back foot in about an inch, and then lower the back heel to the ground. Square your hips, straighten the front leg if it's not already straight, and then on an exhale, bow over your front leg. Bend back into your front knee. We're going to take side plank pose on the left hand again. This time we're going to try to stack the feet on top of one another. So left wrist underneath the left shoulder to begin, and then walk the hand forward about an inch. Turn all your toes around to the right. So get onto the outer edge of the back foot. Right arm straight up into the air, and then bring that bicep over your ear. And then see if you can pick up your right foot and stack it on top of the left, lifting up the right side body towards the sky. And then lunge your right foot to the top of your mat, half moon pose. Right foot and right hand are grounded. Everything else lifts up. Half moon sugar cane, bend the left knee, reach back with your left hand, hold onto your foot to begin, and then on an exhale, push your foot back into your hand, open across your shoulder, Open across your heart. Courage here to hold steady. And then exhale, release. Step back to lunge. Step back to one leg dog. It's the right leg that lifts. And then you take a one leg vinyasa right here. That rhythmic breath guiding you through. Come down onto your belly, however you want to get there. And then bend your right knee. Reach back with your strap or your right hand. Grab your foot. And draw your heel then towards your hip. If you feel that you're not really getting much stretch into the front of the right leg, tuck your pelvis under. So that means your tailbone moves down towards the floor. Okay, exhale, release. Stretch your leg back. Hands in place for chaturanga. Tuck the toes under. Lift the fronts of the shoulders up. Upper back is strong. Belly is strong. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, chaturanga. And plank. And downward dog. Inhale, left leg back and up behind you. Reach it high. Bend your knee and twist open here. Lengthen out through the left side. And then inhale, reach the leg back. Strong core, lunge your left foot to the top of your mat. And come up to warrior two. Turn the front palm up, reverse warrior. Inhale, lift back up, turn to face the right long side of your mat, and then horse stance. So turn the toes out at about 45-degree angles. Bend the knees. We're going to bring the hands just above the knees. So here you can poke your hips back a little bit and your shoulders forward a little bit. Take a breath in. On your exhale, twist to the left. Inhale to the center. Exhale, twist right. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist left and hold. And then you bring that left hand around to just above your right knee. Or take your right hand around to just above your left knee. Take the left arm up and over. Maybe grab onto the hip crease. Point one elbow down, one elbow up as you twist around here. And then inhale, release, stand tall, take the arms out front and back, turn the front toes forward, triangle pose, lean forward, and then fingertips down on the ground. All right, bring your right hand down to the ground, bring your back foot in about an inch and then lower the heel down. Straighten the front leg if it's not straight already. Square your hips. Pull your left hip back and your right hip a little bit forward, and then fold over your left leg. All right, bend back into your left knee. We'll take Vashisthasana here. So right wrist underneath the right shoulder first, and then walk it forward about an inch. Turn all your toes over to the left. And then bring that left arm over your ear. Take a breath in, and then as you exhale, push the floor away. See if you can work your left foot back and stack it on top of your right foot. And then open up through that left side body, arcing the left ribs up towards the ceiling. And then lunge your left foot to the front of your mat, half moon pose. Left foot and left fingers are on the ground. Everything else is lifting. Strong core. Half moon sugar cane. Bend your back knee, reach back, see if your hand can find your foot. And then push your foot into your hand. Opening up here into your back bend, shoulder opener. Exhale, release. Right hand to the mat, right foot to the back of the mat, one leg dog, left leg back and up, one leg vinyasa. Looking great, looking smooth. Bring your feet up to the top of your mat. Chair pose. See if you can get the hips a little bit lower here. Find that courage, challenge yourself to lower the hips and lift the heart at the same time. And then stand all the way up. Widen the feet out a little bit. We'll take a standing back bend. So these back bends are tough because we can't see behind us. So bring your hands where you might want them for support. That could be your low back. It could be hands around the back of the head to support your neck, or maybe arms up overhead. Be strong in your legs, strong in your core. Find that strength in your heart, that courage. And then exhale, start to take your back bend here, maybe going a little bit farther than you thought you could, as long as you don't have pain there. Inhale, good, lift back up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Keep your hands at your heart for now. Bring your weight into your right foot. Bend your left knee, reach back with your left hand or your strap and grab your left foot. Now we're going to reach back with the right hand. So both hands are on either side of the foot. Draw your shoulders back, dance or pose. Keep your gaze out in front of you. Don't look at the floor. Look out, whatever's in front of you. Look at that. Breath in, and then on your exhale, take your heart forward towards what you're looking at. Take your foot back in the opposite direction, also lifting the foot up, both hands holding onto your foot, and then gently release your foot. Step back to warrior one. Lift up, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands down to the floor, downward facing dog. Take your vinyasa here or hold your downward dog. Okay, bring your knees down to the mat. So I told you I had a pose for you today where you were just about guaranteed to fail. This is it. I don't know, you can tell how excited you are. So I'm going to take the right corner of my mat and just fold it over a couple of times and then put my right knee on top of that. So watch me do this and then we'll all work on it together. I'm going to tuck the toes under on my right foot, hands at the heart to remind me to be courageous here. Also, they're ready to hold me in case I fall. And then I'm going to bow forward. Notice I have to take my hips back to bow forward. Take the hips back, bow forward, and then I'm going to lift that left leg back behind me, and then bring it back down and come up. We're only going to do this 3 times on this side. So just have your hands ready to come down if you need them, but we'll start with them at the heart. So get a pad underneath that right knee. And here we go. Strong core. You're going to use the back of that left leg and your glute to lift the leg up. Take a breath in. Exhale. Start to bow forward, sending your hips back, and then stretch your left leg back and up behind you. And then you'll come back up. How is that? We got 2 more goes on this side. Breath in, exhale, bow forward, hips go back, stretch the left leg back and lift it. Here you go, inhale, back up. 1 more. Bow forward. Stretch the leg back. If you need to put one or both hands down on the ground, I wouldn't call that failure. I would call that learning. So no fear of failure here, just learning. All right, that was 3. So roll your mat back out. Bring your right foot in between your hands, low crescent pose. Sweep the arms forward and up. Let your hips come forward so you can stretch the front of the left hip here. Lift your heart up, open up into your back bend. And then exhale, come forward, hands on either side of the front leg. We'll take half splits just for a couple of breaths here. And then we'll take our final side plank pose on the left hand. So you can take any version that you want here. Maybe you're ready to take the version where you take your right leg up into the air. So you want that left hand or your left wrist to be about an inch in front of the left shoulder. It's going to make you, having the hand a little bit forward is going to make you turn on the muscles all around the shoulder. So the pose actually gets a little bit easier because you have more muscles supporting you. So place that left wrist about an inch in front of the left shoulder, tuck the toes under on the back foot, lift the back knee up. If you're going for the version where you take the right leg into the air, use your strap or your right hand to grab the right foot and then lower the outer edge of your left foot down to the ground. Take a breath in and then take your version of side angle pose here. Last one, maybe taking the foot up into the air and then flip over, take your foot down to the ground. It's a blind fall there or flip. And then come back around, downward facing dog. You can take a vinyasa here if you want it, or hold your downward dog. All right, bring your feet up to the top of your mat. Fold over your legs. And then inhale, lift up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Dancer pose variation. We'll stand on the left foot. Keep your gaze in front of you. Bend your right knee. Take your right hand or your strap back and grab your foot. And then once you feel steady, take your left hand back. So left hand on the inside of the foot, right hand on the outside. Roll the shoulders back. Think about stretching your heart right to the point in front of you that you're looking at. So take a breath in, and then as you exhale, heart comes forward, foot goes back and up. Keep your head lifted here. On your exhale, warrior one, step the right foot to the back of the mat, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands down to the floor, downward facing dog. And then take a just regular vinyasa here. Okay, knees down to the floor. We'll take that left corner of the mat, roll it up a few times. So I like to use the corner and then place the left knee on so that when we're taking that left leg back and we bring it back down, the left knee doesn't get caught. If you rolled the whole mat up and you took your leg back, then it would get caught on your mat there. So just the left corner, roll it up a couple of times for a nice pad for your left knee. Tuck your toes under on the left foot. Bring your hands to your heart. 3 times we're going to try this. So really use your core to put on the brakes here. Breath in and then exhale. Bring your heart forward. Keep your gaze out in front. Hips go back a little bit and then stretch that right leg back and then lift back up. side's much harder for me. Exhale, fold forward, hips back, and then use the muscles on the back of the right leg and hip to lift it. One more, I'm just gonna watch you on this one. Yeah, those hands come to the floor, no worries. All right, we're done with those. It's a good lesson though, right? The failure, the catastrophe from the failure is pretty low here. So bring your left foot forward between your hands. Low crescent pose, sweep the arms forward, biceps near the ears. Bring your hips a little bit forward just until you feel a nice stretch in the front of the right hip. And then exhale, hands down to the floor. Just a couple of breaths for half splits here. Straightening the left leg, maybe bowing over it. And then plant into the left foot, bend the left knee. So side plank pose, it's the last one. This is your chance to really face your fear in this pose. So right wrist underneath the right shoulder, and then bring the hand forward about an inch. Lift the back knee up. You're gonna go for that version where you take your left leg into the air, left hand holds onto the foot or strap holds onto the foot. Come onto the outer edge of the right foot, take a breath in, and then push the floor away. Lift your leg up, stretching your leg up into the air, maybe whatever your variation of this pose is, and then take your foot behind you, flipping over. Yes, rolling your chest up towards the sky. Inhale, come around to downward facing dog, and this will be your last flow opportunity if you want it. If you don't want it, you're going to hold that downward dog right there. Okay, from downward dog, bring your right leg forward for pigeon prep. So in pigeon prep, we bring that right knee behind the right wrist and just a tad bit wider. And then you will angle your right shin across your mat. So your shin might be parallel to the front of the mat. It might angle back more. What we want to avoid is knee, hip, or low back pain. So find a position for your shin and your foot. It's going to be a more strenuous stretch if your shin's parallel to the front of your mat. A little less if your shin angles back. And then walk the elbows forward and down. We'll hold here for several breaths. You might even want to walk the arms out and lower your forehead to the mat. Start to walk your hands back in. We'll take a back bend here. So before you really start drawing the shoulders back, pull the belly in, keep the belly strong, and then you can walk the hands back more, pulling the shoulders back. Some of you might even take your arms up overhead. Hands back down to the floor. Sit onto your right hip. And then bring the left leg around in front. So your legs are in this figure 4 shape with your right ankle underneath your left leg. Take your right hand behind you, fingertips pointing back behind. And instead of having the right wrist right underneath your shoulder, take it back about an inch. Left arm out in front. We're going to go into shooting star, a 3-pointed back bend. So take a breath in here. As you exhale, circle your left hand around to the right. Push into your right hand and your left foot, your right knee, and then bring your arm right over your ear, stretch out long through your side body, and maybe you can push down enough into your standing hand and the opposite foot to lift your knee off the ground here just a bit. And then lower it back down, come back around to your seat. Swing that left leg back behind you, downward facing dog. Pigeon prep with the left leg in front. So bring that left knee behind the left wrist and just a little bit wider. Find the angle of your shin where you don't have knee pain or you don't have pain in your hip or low back. Once you're there, bring your elbows down to the floor. And just take some long breaths here. Start walking your hands in and lean forward into those hands a little bit so you can really reinforce your core strength here, pulling the belly back and in. Keeping that, walk your hands back for a back bend, drawing the shoulders back. Maybe fingers stay on the floor or on your blocks. Maybe you take the arms up overhead, open across the chest. And then exhale, hands down to the floor. Sit onto your left hip, swing the right leg around so that the right leg crosses over the top of your left ankle. And then we'll take shooting star from here. Left hand behind, the fingers point behind you. So instead of wrist underneath your shoulder, take it back a little bit. Right arm in front, take a breath in. As you exhale, circle to the left. And then you're going to circle your free arm over your head. This is a pose right here. You can stay in it or push down into your hand and your foot enough. Maybe lift up your knee off the ground just a little bit. Lower back down and then lower around to your seat. This time, we're going to stretch both legs out in front. Inhale, both arms up, and as you exhale, forward bend. The scary parts of our practice are almost over. We are going to take one inversion. And I know for some of you, inversions are your happy place. There's no fear. Good for you, but I know it's not just me. I know that some others of you here have some fear in inverting. So let's tap into that courage of the heart and use that. Be safe in our practice, but maybe find a way to move through that fear into our inversion. So come up out of your forward fold, and then the inversion that probably has the least amount of fear is shoulder stand. And then next, headstand. We didn't really do enough shoulder opening for forearm stand. And then next, handstand. So think about what your body is ready for. in terms of what you're healthy in your body to do. And then think about what your mind is and your heart are up for in terms of inverting. So I'll talk you through headstand, but you're welcome to take any inversion where you are facing your fear a little bit. So I think the most accessible way to do headstand is the tripod headstand. So from all fours, walk your hands back a little bit and bring your head, top of your head to the floor. So you don't want to be on the very top flat of your head. You want to angle back more towards your hairline. So somewhere between the flat part and the hairline. And then just gaze between your hands and your head. And you want the same distance between each hand as the distance you have between your hands and your head. Tuck your toes under, make your upper back strong, make your belly strong. And then lift your knees off the mat. If you have pain, bring your knees back down. If you feel okay here, start to walk the feet in, and then take one foot into the air. The other foot will start to get lighter, and then think about that courage of the heart, lifting the other foot off the ground, bringing the legs together overhead.
Yes, moving right through that fear. Take a couple of breaths there to feel steady, or just start to lower the legs back down. Try to go slowly with the legs as you lower them. If you were in handstand or headstand, come into a child's pose with your forehead on the mat. And then slide your hands back under your shoulders and pull your shoulders back. If you were in shoulder stand, start to make your way down, and you'll just stay on your back. The rest of us, excuse me, will meet you there in a moment. So from that child's pose, if that's where you are, lift the fronts of the shoulders away from the floor. And then to sit up, lift up through the back of your head, sitting all the way up. And then we'll come onto our backs. Hug your knees into your chest and roll across your back, side to side. We'll take one quick bridge pose here. Feet down onto the mat. This is just to open up the front of the body. So feet down, hands down, hug the shoulder blades towards one another on your back. Open up the belly, the fronts of the hips. And then exhale, lower, back down, stretch your legs out. It's time for Shavasana. This is corpse pose. If you want any finishing poses that we haven't done, you're welcome to take those. Otherwise, stretch your body out long and find a position that will be comfortable for you. So this is the pose we're going to hold the longest. Corpse pose is a relaxation pose. It is also a pose of letting go. So if you are still holding on to some fear that holds you back from what it is you really want to do or what you really want to be, now is the time to release from your mind that fear and drop into the heart. The heart space holds your courage, your fortitude, So let go with the mind, move into that warmth and that courage of your heart. Take some deeper breaths now. Letting go of fear on each exhale. And as you inhale, drawing into that courage. Start to move your fingers and your toes. Awaken your body. Place both hands on top of your heart. Taking for just a moment the time to be with the courage, the fortitude, the strength that will guide you through the fear to what you really want. Stretch your arms overhead, reach your legs long. And then on an exhale, roll to your side. Take a moment to honor your body for all the things it does, for all the things it can do. Honor your mind, honor your heart, and the ability for body, mind, and heart to connect as one. On an exhale, come up to a seat and bring your hands to your heart. I hope as you go through your day, you're able to continue being courageous. You're able to use the lessons of your mat to find whatever's on the other side of fear. Let's take one moment to collect our energy together and beam it out to those in need. Namaste. Thanks, everybody.